Good afternoon, and welcome to this day of opportunities, possibilities, and miracles, as well as choices. I greet you this day with the greetings of respect and say I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you've taken a moment to join with me on this day. Well, as we begin this day, September the 11th, a lot of people are remembering the tragedy that happened in New York several years ago. And so my heart goes out for those who had losses during that time, as well as those who are recovering from the hurricane Irma, that's Harvey that just hit, and Irma that's approaching. So we definitely hope that those of you who are experiencing or have family and friends who are experiencing that are managing well through this process, and you have some tactics for being able to get through it. So hopefully that's the case. Last week, we talked about a piece from Whitney Phipps, and it was about during that quiet crucible of moments when you're experiencing suffering is when your noblest of dreams are born and your greatest gifts are given. Did you sit with that? Did you share that with anyone? Did you have a conversation with anybody about that piece? I'm hoping that you did, and hopefully you were able to find your night vision skills, and you were able to see through the darkness of the tragedies that's happening. Likewise, I mentioned then what was going on with Harvey. Even now, during the difficult times of the hurricane, people are finding bright spots that they can look at and reconnecting with their families. So I'm hoping that you shared it. I want to thank all of you who gave me feedback, who viewed this video, and who passed it on. Thank you so much for that. So we begin by our first step of being able to relax and breathe. Can we do that first? Can we just take a couple of times just to inhale and exhale? It's all right. It's okay. Inhale. Exhale. Just a minute to do that is very powerful. The tip that I would like to give you today is, it has different pieces, so I think I'll probably give you a different one for the next few weeks. It's about accepting your limitations might be able to be the key that will help you to relax and breathe a little bit more. Let me tell you why that's so important. Oftentimes, because you do so much and you've accomplished so many things that you forget to give yourself permission just to be human. And so you've done these superhuman things. You're trying to be the superwoman that can do all this and accomplish all that. And you are doing great things. Or the Superman who has went against the odds and done some phenomenal things. That's great. They write movies about you and books and all of that. That's true. But sometimes there are some of us, who've forgotten to give ourselves permission just to be human. With all the great things that we can accomplish, there's some things that we're just not able to. I'm going to give you one of those, and acceptance and acknowledgement of that might help you to relax a little bit better. Thing number one, you can't do everything. You know that intellectually, but have you forgotten emotionally? You might be experiencing stress and frustration and can't relax because you're trying to do too much. As they said, you're doing too much. You might be trying to do too much. You're trying to be here and there and do this and accomplish this. You've got this to do at the job. You have this to do with the home. You have this to do with your car. And you're trying to do all these things, and you can't do it all. And you find yourself having difficulty just relaxing and breathing because you look at your to-do list and there's still things left on there that you haven't completed. Give yourself permission to realize you can't do everything. You can't do it all. So that means you need to know how to do a few things. You remember, was it last week we talked about being able to say no, just to deny certain things? So maybe when some people are asking you or you're putting things on your list, you have to just say, no, I can't do that. At least I can't do it today. Next, you want to be able to delegate. So instead of you trying to do it all, delegate. Hey, why don't you help me? You want this done? Why don't you do this part? Somebody else do that. Learn how to delegate so that you can relax and breathe. Your wellness is what I'm interested in. Because if you're not well, you're not going to be able to take care of the important people in your life. Delegate. Here's another part. Be willing to ask for help, right? That takes humility, to be able to realize you can't do it all and you might need somebody else to help you manage that. Be able to ask for help. But the other side of that, when somebody's trying to help you with your load, with your burden, with the thing that you're struggling with that's causing you difficulty in relaxing breathing, be able to accept when some people are trying to reach out to help you. Your assistance and support might be right there already. Be willing to ask and accept help when it comes. Accept your limitations. Give yourself permission just to be human. So that's your tip for relaxing and breathing this day. Which brings us to our mindful moment content today. I have memorized it. I've known it in the past, but I don't want to mess it. I'm going to give it to you just purely. It's from Langston Hughes. You probably already know which one this is, maybe, right? What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? What happens to that dream? That's the point. What happens to the dream? So I want to break this into a few categories. What happens to that dream? Do you remember when you used to dream about what you wanted in life and who you were going to be? Right? When I was growing up in Baltimore and Cherry Hill, me and Shuby and Kenny and Richard and Roney would sit on the wall in Cherry Hill right there on Round Road, and we would dream about, I want that kind of car, and I'm going to have this kind of house, and I'm going to be this when I grow up. I have it. We had these visions, dreams of what we wanted to have. We assumed that by default, happiness would come along with it. We didn't know that happiness would be something different. It would take a different look as we got older. What did you want to be? What did you dream about? Do you still remember that dream of who you wanted to be when you were a little girl, or when you were a little boy? I want to grow up and I want to be this kind of person. I want to be that. And do you remember that? I want to have this kind of job and live in this kind of house. And was happiness a part of your dream? What happened to that dream? Did it just drift away? Did it fade? What is a dream anyway? A dream is that magnet that draws you towards something greater. It pulls out of you the best of yourself, because it's that vision that sits up there, that image, that picture that sits in the distance that said, I want that. And so to get that, this is what I have to become. It's that thing that pulls you. What happened to your dream? Did it dry up like a raisin in the sun? That dream that you had of what you wanted to be. Let me talk about what happens to the dreamer sometimes. In the process of that dream being lost, sometimes that dreamer acquires his dream or her dream. They get what it is they're looking for. They realize that, well, I need to adjust some things. I need to revise what my dream needs to look like. So some do acquire what it is that they're trying to get for their dream in life. And you meet some of them. They're the 10%ers, those who are living their life. They're living the dream. They get excited about going about the things that they do. They're in a profession that they're passionate about. They're in a relationship that they feel good, that's thriving. They are living the dream, and happiness is included. You know them. They've acquired it and are constantly acquiring new and brighter dreams. But then there are some dreamers who have become bitter. They're angry because their dream wasn't fulfilled. They thought they were going to have a happy family, and they don't have one. And they thought they were going to have this kind of job, and they don't have that. And they thought they were going to have this kind of house, or their life was going to look like this. And they've just become bitter now. And they're bitter not just at themselves, but they're bitter when they see other people accomplishing the things that they want. And so they become envious as well. In many cases, they say, I should have had that job, or I had this idea. And they sit back and look at things on television or people around and envious because they think that they should have had the very thing that they see somebody else with. And so they can't even enjoy other people's experiences. They can't even redefine their own dream because they're busy being bitter at someone else. And they say the only difference between being bitter and better is I think it's also you. The difference between whether you're going to be bitter because your dream has not been fulfilled or not fulfilled yet, because that might be it, might not be gone, might be just deferred, but you can't get to it, you can't see it because you become so angry and bitter that you can't even realize what's possible for you in terms of still finding that dream. Some have just given up. They've given up completely, and they're just living a life of mediocrity, and they're not even really trying to live a life of passion. They're just going from day to day, going through the motion. Well, just another day. Their dreams are gone. But if you can remember the excitement and the enthusiasm that you had when you were younger and you were dreaming about things. So, how then do you fulfill your dream? How do you do that? First thing you got to do is wake up. You got to become conscious. The magic of the dream is not just to have it, but you got to wake up to be conscious. Wait a minute, there's some things I might need to do. So you need to wake up from that dream state and now to develop those things that dream is pulling you towards. So the first step is waking up. You know what the next steps are? I think there's about 4 that I wanted to share with you. 1, you need clarity, right? You need clarity about what your dream really is. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Are you going after your dream, or are you busy trying to follow somebody else's dream, trying to tag on to that? You know, and that might be your dream, to never have your own, but only follow behind somebody else's. Do you have clarity about what your dream is and what you want to go after, so that it doesn't get lost? Because it doesn't just sit out there by itself. It needs your drive. You got to wake up to be conscious about what that is. Have clarity about what you're looking for. Next, you need commitment. All right. There needs to be a commitment. Say, this is what I dream. This is what I want. And you got to be committed to the process of that. You need courage, right? Because some things might take courage for you to get, because it may not be common. You may have had experiences in the past that have made it difficult for you to accomplish certain things, or you maybe haven't even seen people accomplish what it is that you want. So you need courage to go after those things, because it might trigger some feelings that you have inside. Do you have the courage to go after your dream? The next part of this is that you need certainty. Your certainty has to be greater than other doubts, because there are some doubters out there that can't see your dream. They don't see it. They don't feel it. You try to share your dream with them, they can't get. I don't see why you dream something like that. That's not even you, right? I don't see why you do. You need certainty to know this is what, and know with that clarity. Some people, because of where they are, will never see your dream. They'll never see it. They'll never understand why you have to get up early, or why you have to stay up later, why you have to do the things that you do to get what you want, to find that dream. You need that certainty. And because those doubters are going to be there, you know what else you need? This is a bonus piece. You need some cheerleaders. You need some people that root you on. Say, man, you can do this. Girl, you're going to be all right. Man, I believe in you. You need some cheerleaders. The sports teams that we watch on television, basketball, football, soccer, whatever, they are strong and active and go through the pain because they hear people in the audience, in the stands, cheering them on. Do you have a cheerleader? Do you have a team of cheerleaders that believe in you? Even if they don't know what your dream is, you need that cheerleader to help you make it through that situation. And the last piece that I'm going to give you, you need to be able to put in some work, right? My quote that's out there on Facebook now that I'm going to repeat to you now: if you want things to work out, you've got to be willing to put some work in, right? Are you willing to put in that kind of work? That's what it takes to fulfill a dream. People have been critical of Dr. King and his speech that has been affectionately titled, "I Have a Dream." Wasn't the name of the speech, but that's what they call it. And they say, oh, he didn't fulfill his dream. He was putting in work. He was just sharing what his dream was. The work was when he was going to jail, because that dream was that magnet that was pulling the best out of him to accomplish some things along the way. It's not the goal, it's the journey and who you become in that journey that becomes so powerful. He went to jail. He experienced abuses and threats to his life and the life of his family. They continued to draw him because he was willing to put in the work. He wanted things to work out. He was willing to put some work in. How about you? Are you putting work in to get what you want? Let me say, oh, I wanted to be an actor. That's what I wanted to be. You haven't took no acting classes, right? I wanted to be a great singer. You haven't even bought a microphone, right? Haven't taken any voice lesson, haven't done anything to hone your craft. I want to be a cook, you haven't bought a pot, right? What have you invested in you to have your dream fulfilled? What work have you put in? You want to be in this great relationship. What knowledge have you put in? What have you done to learn the skills of a healthy relationship? What is it that you bring to the relationship table? Do you know what it takes to maintain for the kind of woman that you say that you want? Or maintain the kind of man that you say you want? Because it's one thing to acquire a dream. It's another thing to be able to hold on to it and to watch it develop even beyond what you had managed. That's going to take some work. What work are you willing to put in, or have you put in, to have your dream fulfilled? When you think about what it is that you dreamed for, it may not be gone. It may just be deferred. It may be coming a little bit later. There's a song that was in this play that I was in called by Studs Terkel called Working. It was a song in it that fits all of this. It says, if I could have been what I could have been, I could have been something. It's true with you. What are you willing to do? That being the case, I encourage you to look for an opportunity to rekindle that dream, to find that dream that you had and see where it is. And maybe polish it off and refine it, and maybe it can look a little different, but maybe it can still happen. You know, maybe it didn't happen when you were in your 20s or on your 30s. Maybe you needed to be 40 to fulfill the dream, or maybe you needed to be 50 or 60 or even 70. I don't know. Look for an opportunity to refine and find your dream. Look for an opportunity to encourage someone else who you see may have lost their way. They're walking around sleep. Look for an opportunity for you to wake up and wake somebody else up and remind them, man, what was your dream? Is there anything I can do to help you develop or expand that dream? Next, I encourage you to consider the possibility of living your dreams, whatever they may be, your financial dreams, your dreams of being happy, because when you really look at it, it doesn't matter what stuff you have if you don't have peace of mind, if you don't have a peace at heart, if you're not contented. Look for the possibility, or think about experiencing the possibility of living that life, that dream, having the finances, the home, the relationship, the family that you want, and accept that if it's not the way you originally pictured your dream to be, reshape that dream and make it something that you can be passionate about. You only have so long to be in the amusement park of life. Dream and experience a beautiful time while you're in this walk. Not just the goal, but the journey. Remember, if you want things to work out, you got to be willing to put some work in. Lastly, expect and experience the miraculous things that will unfold for you as you become more mindful in your moments, as you live your dream and find passion in your life. Thank you for sharing these messages. Forgot to wish well to the service members who I know personally who are in Cuba, and their families who are here who are experiencing difficulties. Thank you for sharing. Share this message with someone. Replay it in your mind, or replay the video so it can sink in with you. Do what you need to do so that you can live and travel well. And until we cross paths again, my wish is always that you travel well with respect. Till next time.